Get ready for the market explosion. The short video platforms market is expanding at an incredible 12.9% compound annual growth rate. We dive into what this massive surge means for the future of short-form video and the platforms driving this phenomenal growth.
Tired of dropping your phone or struggling to hold it with one hand? The PopSocket's Pop Grip gives you a secure grip, works as a phone stand, and even lets you swap the top for a fresh new look. Simple, useful, and perfect for everyday phone use. Click the link in the comments to grab yours on Amazon.
Next up, we head straight to the heart of the tech battleground. TikTok is making a final, high-stakes push against its designation as a gatekeeper under the European Union's Digital Markets Act in the top court. We break down the intense legal arguments ByteDance is making to overturn this crucial ruling. We continue the deep dive into this landmark legal fight. We examine exactly what TikTok's lawyers are arguing about multi-hemming and market valuation to convince the European Court of Justice that they are not the untouchable digital empire Brussels predicted. This ruling could redefine how big tech is regulated across the continent. And finally, we look at the bigger picture. TikTok is telling Europe's top court that it is not big tech royalty, challenging the very framework of the Digital Markets Act. Don't miss this monumental legal showdown. Stay with us for the full analysis. The global market for short video platforms is experiencing robust expansion, projected to grow at a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 12.9%. This significant growth signals an accelerating shift in consumer behavior towards short-form video content across various digital ecosystems. Industry analysts are tracking this surge as platforms continue to evolve, catering to an ever-increasing demand for quick, engaging, and easily consumable video content. The rapid market expansion underscores the increasing importance of short video in digital communication, entertainment, and marketing strategies worldwide. TikTok has launched a final appeal to Europe's top court to overturn its designation as a gatekeeper under the EU's Digital Markets Act, a designation that subjects the platform to stricter regulatory standards aimed at curbing the power of big tech. TikTok was officially named a gatekeeper in September 2023, joining other major platforms like Google, Meta, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Booking.com, based on having over 45 million monthly users. This case represents the first challenge to a DMA gatekeeper designation heard by the EU Court of Justice, and its outcome could significantly influence Europe's strategy to regulate big tech competition and enhance user choice. A lower court tribunal had previously rejected TikTok's challenge, ruling that the platform met the established DMA criteria for gatekeeper status. The Digital Markets Act imposes stringent requirements on large tech companies, with potential infringement fines reaching up to 10% of a company's annual turnover. TikTok argues that the lower court erred in its decision, asserting that the company failed to meet the 3 core criteria for gatekeeper status: significant market impact, acting as a key business gateway to users, and holding an entrenched market position. TikTok's legal team contended that ByteDance's market capitalization is heavily reliant on its Asian operations, noting that the company lacks a direct connection to Europe and operates within a distinct regulatory, linguistic, and cultural environment. Furthermore, they stressed that a substantial majority of TikTok users utilize multiple other platforms simultaneously, such as Facebook, Instagram, Snap, and X, which they termed multi-hemming, indicating users are not locked into TikTok's ecosystem. However, a lawyer for the European Commission countered this argument, suggesting that lock-in can still occur even with some degree of multi-hemming, citing potential dependencies among specific user segments. The court is expected to deliver its ruling in the coming months. Separately, Meta Platforms is also contesting its gatekeeper designation concerning Messenger and Marketplace. The case is formally identified as C6-2724P ByteDance v. Commission. TikTok has launched a final legal challenge against its designation as a gatekeeper under the European Union's Digital Markets Act, escalating a high-stakes legal battle that is set to influence the bloc's strategy to regulate dominant technology firms. The case has reached the European Court of Justice, marking the first attempt to overturn the designation before the EU's highest court. This ruling is anticipated to shape how aggressively regulators can enforce the landmark law, which imposes stringent obligations on powerful digital platforms to foster competition and consumer choice. TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, argued that the company did not meet the criteria for gatekeeper status under the Digital Markets Act. ByteDance contended that a significant portion of its market valuation is derived from its Asian operations, and that its European business operates under distinct competitive and regulatory environments. Furthermore, ByteDance suggested that TikTok users frequently utilize multiple competing platforms, such as Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and X, thereby undermining claims that consumers or businesses are exclusively locked into the TikTok ecosystem. TikTok was initially designated a gatekeeper in September 2023, joining other global tech giants including Alphabet, Meta Platforms, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Booking.com. Gatekeepers face operational restrictions and compliance duties, with potential penalties reaching up to 10% of global annual turnover for noncompliance. A lower EU tribunal had previously dismissed TikTok's challenge last year, finding that the company satisfied the law's thresholds concerning market influence, its role as a gateway between businesses and users, and the durability of its market position. Lawyers for the European Commission countered the argument regarding competing platforms, asserting that the existence of alternatives did not negate the potential for user dependency within specific segments of TikTok's audience. The court is expected to issue its final decision in the coming months. Separately, Meta Platforms is pursuing a challenge against the gatekeeper designation applied to Messenger and Marketplace under the same legislation. TikTok engaged in a high-stakes legal battle this week at Europe's top court, attempting to overturn its designation as a gatekeeper under the European Union's Digital Markets Act. ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, sought to invalidate a 2023 European Commission decision that subjected the platform to strict regulatory obligations, arguing that TikTok remains a scrappy challenger rather than an entrenched digital empire. ByteDance's legal team contended that the General Court applied an incorrect legal test. They emphasized that TikTok's market capitalization is heavily derived from Asian businesses, lacks direct connection to Europe, and operates within a distinct regulatory, linguistic, and cultural environment. Furthermore, ByteDance argued that regulators treated the Digital Markets Act's numerical thresholds as a definitive trigger for gatekeeper status, rather than a signal for deeper scrutiny. A central theme in TikTok's defense was the concept of multi-homing. The company asserted that users do not remain trapped within TikTok, as they frequently utilize other platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and X, allowing businesses to reach the same audiences elsewhere. This behavior, ByteDance argued, undermines the notion that TikTok functions as an unavoidable bottleneck between consumers and businesses. Conversely, the European Commission vigorously defended the designation, asserting that TikTok's growth and widespread use across the EU already established it as a powerful digital gateway. Commission lawyers countered ByteDance's claims, stating that the law was specifically designed to preempt fast-growing platforms from solidifying into untouchable monopolies. They maintained that the burden of proof lies with companies attempting to escape designation, requiring them to demonstrate a high degree of plausibility that the law's presumptions are flawed. The case represents a significant test of the Digital Markets Act, which was established to accelerate regulatory action against major tech firms like Google and Meta before they become too dominant. While ByteDance warned that the system risks overshooting its target by targeting fast-growing challengers, the Commission argued that TikTok's explosive growth validates the law's purpose, to rein in platforms before it is too late. Judges are now deliberating on how far the new digital rulebook can extend its reach.